Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back to another American Reacts. Finally getting to this one. This one has been on the to-do list for a long time. We have how to register an illegal Holden Ute in the U.S. That's right. As you know, the El Camino, the Ford Rancheros, the Dodge Rampages, all the other car-based Utes that were available in America have been long gone since the late 70s, early 80s at the latest. They're just not a thing here. It's big trucks, and more big trucks. And as a genuine gearhead, it's been very fun learning about Aussie car culture. And of course, a big part of that is the Holden Utes, the Ford Utes. They're basically muscle cars with a pickup bed. They're really, really freaking awesome. And they can actually do some work. They can actually haul some weight. They can serve multiple purposes. They're really cool. Now, I'm not kidding. I have gotten this suggested so many times for months, so thank you for being patient. It is always hard dwindling down what video to do, and this one I just had to do it. So this video comes to us from VinWiki. This will be linked in the description down below. They have some really, really fun content. I have not seen this particular video, so this is perfect. But they are very fun. Check them out in the description. But yeah, without further ado, guys, here we go. I want to know how to register an illegal Holden Ute in the U.S. because if I really came into some money and had some money to burn, I would love to have a Ute with an LS under the hood. I think that would be awesome. So let's learn.
For some reason, Pontiac was in love with 50 Cent.
I mean, we have had some Aussie cars. The Pontiac G8 was a Holden Commodore. The Chevy SS was a Holden Commodore.
My daily driver in Indianapolis
Pontiac GTO was a Holden Monaro.
Is a modern El Camino, and every stoplight I go to,
look at that.
That's the new El Camino. No, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Every Photoshop job that you see with a Chevy Cruze on the front and a pickup truck rear end on it, it is not going to happen. General Motors is not going to rebirth the El Camino because of the pickup truck market. There is no market in the United States for an El Camino anymore. But
I do have to agree with him totally that he nailed it. That's why you won't see an El Camino anymore. Nowadays, like I said, as a car guy, I'm sure a lot of you agree, it sucks that car companies are so corporatized now. It's just corporate, big money, big corporate, save money. They got all their spreadsheets and they know what they're doing. So yeah, for those reasons, they won't give you fan service and release awesome cars that car guys want necessarily. They rarely do that. It's more about, hey, what can we make really cheap and that will sell really well and make us a lot of money. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Even though an El Camino back in the U.S., like Australia had some Utes, it would be very cool here in the USA, but they're not going to make it because it'd be cool. If it won't serve the correct market, if it won't make enough money, or more so, if it will tap into and disrupt their pickup truck sales, that's where the problem is, and it's never going to happen. Trucks are just bigger than life here in the United States, full-size trucks that is, and they don't want to mess with that.
But Pontiac attempted to do it in 2010. In 2009, at the New York Auto Show, for some reason, Pontiac was in love with 50 Cent. And 50 Cent
random.
Rolled out there with a Pontiac G8 and a Pontiac G8 ST, which is street truck.
Holy crap.
And they were going to introduce
I don't remember that.
the 2010 Pontiac G8 ST. And
wow.
They were going to reintroduce an El Camino in 2010. And Pontiac died in 2009.
Love those old ones.
So we never got them, even though there was a few that floated around and show cars, and Lord knows where they are now. So
look at
I was in
that
love
is neat.
with this vehicle, and I thought they were very interesting, but I knew they were Holden Utes from Australia because the G8 is a Holden Commodore.
Yeah.
And then it became the Chevy SS,
right,
which is still a Holden Commodore. So a 2008, 2009 Pontiac G8 is a VE Holden Commodore. That's it. They rebadge them, put a different bumper grill on them, ship them to the U.S. We got left-hand drive, 6-liter, 4 doors, were gone. But we never got the pickup truck version, which was a Ute, and we never got the wagon version, which was an estate or a statesman, and there's a bunch of different names for them. So we only got the 4-door version. So how on God's green earth am I going to get a left-hand drive, never made it, Holden Ute into the United States without everybody going on the internet and every Facebook board and every, it's got to be 25 years old. He's going to have ice at his house. You're going to take his car. Not coming. What I did is I bought a 2009 Pontiac G8 GT with a horrible Carfax. I bought it cheap, but I bought it right. I think I gave $13,200 for it, and
that is cheap.
4 or 5 years ago. So and this is not a very old car, 2009 G8 GT. We had multiple bumper covers and multiple owners. Then I have an Australian friend in North Carolina. His name is David Lowe, and David Lowe is from Australia, and he is driving a Holden Ute in North Carolina. And I'm like,
wow.
Now how in the world did Dave Lowe get a Ute and its left-hand drive in the U.S.? And there is an old Jalopnik story with a Ute, and it says, how did someone get this in the United States? It's not his car, but someone else has done it. And there was a place out of Colorado that I didn't deal with that everybody always asks us my car is from. My car is not from them. And
I've heard about them,
for bringing in Utes and whatever else. I called David and I said, Dave, how on God's green earth did you? And he said, I brought a body into the United States. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He said, a Ute body. And I had a G8. And they're both made by the same robots. And there are many different ways in which you can convert this 4-door Pontiac into a 2-door Holden. And I'm like, man, lay it on me. Tell me what the logistics are. And my wife has a 2008 Ignition Orange G8 GT that she loves. I just bought this horrible Carfax G8 GT 1 year newer 09, and I don't really care about it. What can we do? He found me a 2009 Ute body in Australia that was in a flood. And so apparently this husband and wife in Australia got a little bit of a right-left. She took off in the Ute, put it in the creek, killed the bonnet, the bumper bar, everything, and flooded it, and it was a total. And they call them statutory write-offs in Australia.
Okay.
So it was a stat write-off, and he said...
Yeah, that would be what's known as a salvage title. So the title of the car is wiped, and it's called a salvage title. And that's bad news for sure.
I can get
car
you
is
the
not
body,
roadworthy
what's
anymore.
left of it, because I don't need a motor and transmission. I got one in the G8. I don't need the doors. I got 2 of them on the G8. I'm not going to use the rear ones. He said I can get it over here in the U.S. and I can get it shipped, and we can bring it into the country. And I wanted a hard lid, which is they call it the tray in Australia, which goes over the bed.
It's like a tonneau cover,
and I said, man, I'm ready to write the check. Let's go. For cheap, we got a body into the United States on a container.
Wow.
And he brought a couple more over for himself to build Utes out of. I went all the way down to North Carolina with an empty truck and trailer. I met his amazing father-in-law at a body shop. When he called me and said my car was in, I didn't know what I was going to get. I'm just spent quite a bit of money, but not much, on this Ute body, and there wasn't really much left of it. It was no doors, no hood. They had to break the windshield because it didn't pass DOT in the United States. I was like, oh boy. But man, I've built a lot of stuff. I can do this, And my friend Charles Phelps had a GXP G8 that he got rear-ended in, and he did the same thing. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
If Charles can do it and Dave can do it, Travis has got this covered, right? And I got the garage, and I get down there, and he's got one built and another one in the shop. And I'm like, whoa, this is way beyond my pay grade. You're relocating the parking brake cable and all this stuff.
Oh, man.
There are 2 ways to basically do this and keep.
It's funny because they are based basically on the same car, right? They're built next to each other in an assembly plant. The same tooling is building these. But, they're still different cars. These little knick-knack items are going to be set up different, right? Parts, different cables, different fasteners in different places. Then you have the whole right-hand drive versus left-hand drive. So keep in mind, if you're watching this, they are the same essentially car, same brand of car, but it's still a process. Like he said, I would be lost. That is a project way beyond my means. It'd be very, very fun, of course, to have a Holden Ute here in the U.S. I really would want that in the future. I would love to do that. Yeah, that is definitely something that you would have to have the right people, the right connections, because there's no way I'm doing that myself.
Keep it legal in the United States.
Then the legality thing.
Because it's not 25 years old and blah, blah, blah. It's not against the law to rebuild your car. I just rebuilt mine as a truck.
Right. See, that's the thing. He doesn't have, technically, by the law standards, he didn't import a Holden Ute. He didn't import a car that was registered in Australia, and he just turned the key and is driving it on American streets. He's driving a Pontiac G8. There you go. If he mangles with the body, who cares? As long as it's got the proper DOT approved brake lights and turning signals and headlights and a windshield, I mean, he's good to go, right? So that's the thing where, if you're not aware, like here in America, you can import basically a car from anywhere in the world as long as it's 25 years old. You can get it registered for the road here. So you can import a car from Australia or England or Japan, whatever have you, as long as it is 25 years old. This is clearly not that old, but yeah, that's how he gets around that. He is driving a G8. It's just been retrofitted with a pickup body.
Cut the firewall out because the air conditioning's on one side and the steering wheel's on the other, so they're two different holes, and then they need to go this way. Or you can cut the cars in half and put them back together.
Yeah.
And you're basically just drilling out all the factory welds and then re-welding everything back together again with the United States parts versus the Australian parts. And so David was like, here's your car. Have fun in Indiana. His father-in-law and I ate at this amazing barbecue place. And I walked outside and I called my wife and I said, if I take this home, it will never get done. And I want to drive this car in my lifetime, let alone this year.
Right.
She's like, what are you going to do? I walked back in and I said, David, what do I need to do to have you do all the work? Because you have built, this is your third one. You know what you're doing. And him and his father-in-law talked it over and they shot me a price, which was half the price of the dudes in Colorado.
Wow.
And I went home with an empty trailer. And I came back and brought them my black Pontiac G8 GT. Clean title, crappy Carfax. And then they took my car and married it with the Ute body.
Oh, wow.
And then called me in 2 months and said, come pick your car up.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is done. Like, it's over. And it's reasonable. And the work, the craftsmanship is incredible. And it's legal. I go to North Carolina and pick up my Ute. And I got less than $40,000 in this thing in the United States. And I'm like going, all right, super cool.
That is, in this day and age for cars, unfortunate, right, that it costs that much money. Expensive hobby, being a car guy. But in reality, that is not that much money. 40,000 American dollars is not that bad for having a super head turner, super unique. I mean, this is going to be a fun car, still a fast car, or should I say Ute, but it's going to be so unique and just like this is what this guy wanted, right? I mean, he dreamed of it and he's got it. And look at it. I mean, God, it looks so sharp. The other one, the Pontiac one, looks so sharp too. It's just really, really cool. And, for what you're getting, again, that's really not bad. I mean, it's not like this thing was $100,000 or $150,000. 40 grand, if you really save up, that could be attainable for a lot of people.
Cool. Now, how do we title it? And everybody's like going, we're on the way. ICE is going to be knocking on Travis's door any second. They know where I live. They're not coming. We get to Indianapolis, and Indiana is famous for Winnebagos and the RV Hall of Fame. If you type in Elkhart, Indiana, hand to God, up northern Indiana is the Winnebago or RV Hall of Fame. I have no idea who goes there. But if Ed Bolian and I have a Chevy Savannah van, and we go put a camper rear end on it, it's still a Chevy Savannah van, but no longer. It is an RV, recreational vehicle. So Indiana has this super cool thing called a body transfer affidavit, because I was concerned to run it as a Pontiac because the Pontiac still has 4 doors. Now I have 2. And if I get pulled over, they're going to be looking for a 4S, 4-door sedan, and I'm a TK truck now. So I used a state of Indiana body transfer affidavit to retitle my car as a 2009 Holden Ute. Because it is a 2009 Holden Ute. It is no longer a Pontiac G8.
So that's what I got wrong earlier. I thought they were still going to title it as a Pontiac G8, but I didn't know about that clause they had. That's kind of cool. I do wonder how that varies state to state. I'm sure, again, with that, some states are going to be cool about it. Some states are going to be total assholes about it. It's pretty cool, though, that you got away with that.
When you send that in or go to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, you surrender your Pontiac title, and then they basically look at you and say, what is this? I could have called it a 2009 Ed if I wanted to.
Okay.
Or a 2015 or a 2009 VinWiki. I could have called it a Ronald McDonald. I could have called it anything I wanted to, but it is a Holden Ute. So my truck is titled as a 2009 Holden Ute, left-hand drive, legal in all 50
Wow.
in the United States. And it was not as difficult as like, oh my gosh, because all the guys that bring Skylines in and all these things are really bending it until it breaks. But there is a legal way to do it. And
Wow,
if
that's
you want to
spectacular.
convert a Holden from a VE 2008, 2009, or even a 14 to 17 VF, they're legal.
That's
And
really cool.
everything about it is just, all the airbags are still intact. Everything still works. There's no service engine lights. I got pulled over in North Carolina.
That thing is super sharp, like super sharp.
And the good old boy cop had no idea what he was looking at, but he still wrote me a ticket to my 2009 Holden Ute. And the ticket clinic took care of that. I daily drive this thing. I drive it every day.
Look at that.
If I got to get mulch in it, so every stoplight, hey, is that the new El Camino? No, it's not the new El Camino.
Damn, it looks so good in black. His spec he got there just looks so good.
But I can understand why you would think that. But when you tell them it's a 2009, they're almost depressed. They're like, get out of here. And I'm like, we just never got them in the United States because we killed Pontiac in 2010, and 50 Cent never got his either.
What an end there. That was really cool. Really cool. Now I have to keep this in the archives for if I ever needed to reference it. If I ever get a chance to have a Holden Ute in the U.S., there you go. That was really, really interesting, really fun, absolutely beautiful machine. Looked so good. I tell you what, Holden, even Ford, any of the modern Australian and old too. I don't mean modern. I just mean any of the Australian cars over the years. Some of them really are just incredible looking. Australia certainly knew how to build some badass rides. Even so far as to say that there are Americans on the other side of the earth drooling over Australian cars. Right here. So yeah, that was really, really fun, guys. It's been a while since I did some just like Aussie car culture videos like this. This was a really good one. Thank you to the what seems like a million people that suggested this to me over the last couple months. This was a really good one. Make sure to check out VinWiki in the description down below. They have awesome stuff like this. And it's kind of crazy, right? I'm from Chicago. This guy's in Indiana. He's right next door. You never know. Maybe I'll see that Ute on the street or at a car show sometime. With that being said, guys, you know the drill. Throw a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it or learned something new. I know I did. Subscribe for more stuff like this. Tell me your suggestions and leave your comments down below on what you thought of this. And if you're from Australia, you see these all the time. Tell me some American cars that you don't have there that you would love to import if you could. In closing, check out the description for this original video and other ways you can support my channel. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.